Oh, yeah. Yep. That's it. That's it. See if anybody comes in here. I know it's midday. Most of you are probably driving, listening. And if you're driving, don't say that you're driving, right? Let's go. So I have to squint at the camera. Let's see what's going on here. Here's the ad. Watch my own ad. All right. How's it going, everybody? We are at home. And, I had a question. See what kind of rates you guys are seeing out there. Just made a fresh pot of coffee. And I had to take a random today. And that was easy because it was just nothing but coffee. So, yeah, Mike, you've been seeing that. Man, okay, so here's Charles Brandt, coffee on me. Thank you, Charles. I appreciate that very much. Good Tuesday morning. So this is a mid-morning, lunchtime, depending on where you're at in the country. Coffee thoughts. Yeah, we'll leave them on. Out here enjoying the fresh air. It is a beautiful day here in the Ozarks. Not a cloud in the sky, no breeze. I mean, it's just beautiful. And I had to take my Remington 870 to the gunsmith, and he fixed it. So we got that accomplished today. And then I also had to take a random. And as Bruno pointed out, been fighting some of these rates, right? Now I'm not. I'll get to the comments here in a second. I'm not parking like completely, but if I find something worth doing, I'll do it. Now, here in the good old Ozarks, I'm blessed with these short runs that I can do that usually give me a pretty good daily rate. However, desperation is out there, and I'm being outbid on $500 days by $200. And I'll give you an example. Let's do some shout outs first. Overtax Minnesota, Charles Brandt, Little Viking Coach, Jose, Grafton, Bruno, Mentor, Transport. Hello from the Apocalypse, says Yukon. Clyde Garland, what's up? Provost Motorsports. And Daryl Worth, what's up? Good morning. Well, I just booked one for $1.80. It's a bundle, though. Okay, so Jose, let's talk about that. So there's these loads that are literally 80 miles. And there's these loads around here that are 65 miles. Now, if they were scheduled, I can like do 2 a day and have a pretty good decent day, which I've done before. But they've got them listed individually for $190, $200, okay? But then they bundled 2 of them together and had it bundled at like $500. And so I bid on the big one, the bundle, and someone took that bundle for less than the asking price of each individual load. So like Uber and Convoy, what they do is they'll post 3 loads. One is one is another, and then they'll post it together. They'll post those loads together. And this is a tactic I learned from Landstar. What a lot of brokers want to do is they want to help you book a whole week. And so what happens is they save money. Instead of selling each individual load, they save money by bundling them all together. Well, the problem with these bundles is that a lot of times these the second or third load cancels. Well, you have to decide on which load. It's like you have to determine the rate for each load. How's it going?
Good. How you doing?
Not too bad.
You want me to hand this to you or send it somewhere?
No, I've got it. Thank you, sir.
My pleasure. Have a good afternoon.
You too. And these bundles, like at Landstar, they'd have these strings, and you would see each individual string on the load board, but then they would string them together, and then you call it when they find out one part of the string canceled, and they're like, oh well, most of the money was on that string, not on this string. So you have to quote a price for each leg of the string, and so I'm real leery about those string of loads. So I try to bid on the individual ones and put them together myself, because the other thing I've noticed is that whoever's scheduling these string of loads, like on Uber, don't know the hours of service. It'll be something like pick up at 6:30 a.m., deliver at 9 a.m. the next day, and then the second load or the second string picks up at 10 p.m. at night that day, and then delivers at 6 a.m. the next morning. And you're like, that can't be done unless you're a husband-wife super seller or something like that. But it's I don't like the strings, but I'll bid on them if they look good. But so I've been bidding on everything in this area because I like these little short loads because they're easy money. Yet I keep getting outbid by $200 on a $400 load. And I'm only quoting the prices that I've done them for before. And they keep getting taken because they're either being taken or they're being pushed. And so Convoy likes to tell you, hey, you've been outbid by X amount of dollars. In other words, they want to rub it in your face and tell you what you lost it for. Which, JB Hunt does the same thing. And don't want to spill my coffee. I did that yesterday. And to me, it's part of this rock bottom pricing that we're getting. I'm not taking under $1 out of Fort Worth, so I'll wait. There you go, Charles, or overtaxed. Marty, what's up? Marty's still dreaming about having a KW. You know what? If Mr. Best gets an international, maybe he can get in his Kenworth there. Chucky, what's up? Yeah, it just happened to me. I was bidding 600 for 198 miles. Delivered next day. Bid went from 600 to 375. That's exactly what I'm talking about, Eddie. Now on that run, 600 is not reasonable. 500 is about the limit, and someone took it for way less than that. And so when it comes to this rock bottom, are we there yet? Because I kid you not, there was a load that was 1,300 miles from Louisiana up to New Jersey. 90-day average was $2,400. Someone had that priced at $800. $800 to do 1,300 miles to go into New Jersey. Now, I'm sure if you call that particular broker, you can probably get them up to 1,000, but I bet you probably not one penny more. Would you take a 1,300 mile run into New Jersey, 45,000 pounds from Louisiana? So you're going straight up 95 for less than $1 a mile or $1 a mile? Think of the tolls on that route. Think of the fuel that you're going to burn on that route. And I don't care what your costs are. I don't care if you have a paid off truck. That is non-sustainable. Because even if you're just breaking even, it doesn't take much for a blown tire, a breakdown, toll roads, getting a sandwich, you know, to ruin the profit. And you can sit there and say, well, the object is to stay alive. The object is to at least break even. But when you run consistently below your costs, that catches up. Now you can say, well, you're not making any money sitting, but part of that is, okay, if it costs me 40 cents a mile in fuel and my other costs are about, I don't know, 80 cents a mile, well, I'm adding 40 cents a mile. You got to do the math. You got to know your numbers. At what point do you say enough's enough? What point do you tap into your savings and say, and what a lot of this is that if you need $300 a day and you're consistently only getting 150, yeah, you're not going in the hole as fast, but you're still going in the hole. See how that works? How long can you sustain that? Now, could you sustain that longer than sitting doing nothing? Maybe, but here's the thing. If your banks are deferring payments and your insurance is giving you a deal, why would you do that, right? Let's go with the comments here. Big Rich, you're banned for 7 days. Oh, you're silly. Ever thought about picking a banjo sitting on the porch? Overtaxed. Harold Huffman had a banjo. He had it with him at last year at GATS, or the year before. And I picked around. I don't know jack about banjos. I don't even know how to tune one, right? And I plucked around on it and looked like an idiot, and I handed it back to Harold. So, but I go crazy with the what do they call it? Dulcimer. I can do that. I'm pretty good with the dulcimer. Rates are horrible, yes, Charles. People are working for free. Well, not only that, Mike. It's you're not just working for free. You're paying to work. Think about if someone actually took that $800 load. Okay, let's do some math here. So 1,300 miles divided by 6 miles a gallon. That's $216, or 216 gallons of fuel. Okay. Let's say that you got an awesome discount. So 216 times $2 a gallon. That comes out to $432. Okay. Now, one of you Jersey guys like Provost, tell me, I don't know exactly where at in Jersey. So let's assume $100 in tolls. Okay. So $100, 432 plus 100. We'll say 100. So that's $532 in fuel and tolls. Okay. Out of that 800. So let's say that you're a guy like me and you're getting 80% of that revenue. So 800 times 0.8 is 640. 640 minus $540. You're making $100 to drive 2 full days in a partial. That's less than $50 a day. Yeah. Yep. Nope, ain't gonna do it. That's non-sustainable. Even if you got the full amount. Even if you're going to negotiate got up to 1,000, you're still looking at what, $200 or $300 profit for 2 days of work, $150 a day. You know what I mean? Even the mega carriers can't sustain that for a long period. Now, here's the caveat to all of it, right? Let's say you're a mega carrier. You've got a good contract with, say, I don't know, some place that does rolled paper. And you're able to negotiate a decent rate. Paper company says, you know what? We're going to cut back, scale back on our production, which means that we're renegotiating, and then they put that stuff on the spot market. I've seen it. I've seen that happen with a local beverage company. I've literally seen that. I know a person that does contract freight for a certain beverage company, and they were told to go home. Those drivers were told to go home, and suddenly the load board is filled with all those loads that they were doing. Why? Because they know they can get it cheaper on the spot market. So the mega carriers don't want the spot market to get down to 80, 90 cents a mile, because then the shippers will go to the spot market to get moved stuff. But there's so many trucks that it doesn't, the load volume can be there sometimes, but it doesn't mean that the rates come up. Texas is a perfect example of that. Plenty of loads coming in and out of Texas, but when have you ever gotten a good rate out of Texas? I mean, you can do it sometimes. Pay parking, that's a good point, Eddie. Somebody told me, I think Kaislin told me, that there was a truck stop he was at that was $50, 50 to park. No thanks. So, meanwhile, labor's up, cost of labor's up on shops, parts are up, cost of running a truck has gone up. Now, you might be able to buy a good truck at a good price right now, but, and diesel's cheaper now, but, abundance of capacity. I wonder what they mean. The West Asian East Africans come in the country, buys a truck with our tax money, and then run for pennies. Yeah, but even then, there's I don't know. It's crazy. Let's see here. I try to get them for the asking rate and get them all together so at the end of the month it's as close as possible for my goal. John Armstrong, what's up? That would be a hard pass. Yep. Sorry, I'm catching up the comments. But the object is not to shoot yourself in the foot either. Right. Math is hard, John. Yeah. This is my second week of staying at home. It's not worth driving a truck in the ground for cheap rates. Shadow Wolf, good morning. I see loads going into Texas out of Ohio for less than $1, and I see someone post dollar rates out of Texas. That is nuts. Eddie says that's why he's staying home. Pale Rider, TVE, what is up? Yukon can pick and grin on a banjo. Awesome. Been home for a week, 4 days by choice. Actually had all my boys in the same place at one time, but looking for something worth starting the truck. John is depressed again. Thomas Wilson, supply and demand, the American way. It's look. There's a balance. There's a line, and I've told Jeff that I'll still run, but I'm not. Short haul is minimizing the damage. I'll run for $200 a day if it's 80, 100 mile, 150 mile days, or if I find something consistent. And so one can argue that a load from Louisiana to New Jersey is consistent, but then what are you going to do out of Jersey? I mean, rates out of Jersey are in the tank in a regular market. People are under the impression that you get money out of the Northeast. No, you don't. Whenever you're on one coast or the other, or one corner or the other, you always take a hit coming out because there's only one direction you can go. If you're in Maine looking for a load, there's only one direction you can go, or two, south and west, right? Same thing with California. If you're in Los Angeles, unless you want to run up north and south, which is a little bit better money, if you want to go east, guess what? It's going to cost you. Now, California is a little bit different because you have, if there's an under capacity because there's a lot of port freight that needs to come out, then yeah, you can get a good rate coming out of California. However, that's not the case right now. And so, my question is, have we hit bottom? I've seen rates as low as 50, 60 cents. I don't think you can go any lower than that. I don't think you can go any lower. Now, the trick is, how long will we stay here? Okay, we're there. We're at the bottom. How long are we going to stay here? And it's pretty bad when I get a prepper. A prepper calls me up or texts me late last night, and tells me that he's collecting more rice and beans. It's like the oil prices, barrel of oil. I mean, that's something to keep an eye on. It's kind of a trifecta. You got our civil liberties being taken away, and you have the damage to the small businesses, a big part of the economy, and then you have another aspect to the economy, with the oil prices. And people are shaming people if they're not wearing a mask in certain places. People are afraid. People think their minds. There's a lot of stress in the world, and regardless of what your political views are, you're under a lot of stress. And we're not immune. That's the thing. The strike the other day or in Houston, you'll gain no sympathy by shutting down. Because if I'm sitting here at home without a job, right? If a person's sitting at home without a job, laid off, having trouble with unemployment, because it's not as easy to get as they're claiming. And then they see that trucks are blocking the highway because they're not making their money. Nobody's making money except the hand sanitizer people, the people that make masks, the people that make Q-tips. The president yesterday talked about taking the plants to make Q-tips and making the test swabs. And it's just it's an interesting, uncertain time. And you can tell people are getting desperate. Getting outbid on $200 loads is pretty crazy. A broker 2 years ago would not have the audacity, unless it was a parcel, to post a load $800 to New Jersey out of Louisiana. They would literally get hate calls and say, you know what, that load's never going to move. Well, let's go back to some comments here. Ohio, I should play the lottery today. Got one load from Illinois to Pennsylvania for 202 mile on 591 miles, and then Pennsylvania to New Jersey on 350 miles for 375 miles. Both brokers call me. Ohio trucker, I hope that's a trend. I hope that enough people have shut down that they're going to start, instead of 7 trucks for a load, they're going to have 3 trucks for a load. Mike Miller in Wisconsin. TJ, good morning. For the first time in over 30 years, I'm tending to a garden again. There you go. That's what you do, man. I'm not stressed. I hope for the best, but I'm prepared for the worst. Big Rich, that's kind of how I am. Like I said, I was messing around with the 870 yesterday, Friday, and it kept jamming up on me, so I took it in and they fixed it, and we're good to go. Could barely pass my line test. Now I can pass a bucket test. Says Big Rig Radio Network. So, sir, when they open the ports up again, things are going to be crazy freight for a while. The issue is it won't last. Nope, people have very little to nothing to spend until they get caught up. Shadow Wolf, I agree with that. We're going to see a spike for a minute. And, and who was it? I think it was Coach's Live Feed that someone had mentioned that they lived in Los Angeles and they were told that May was going to be a gangbusters month for them. And I might be putting skirts on my trailer if the rates coming out there are pretty good. John is stressed. Pride isn't an issue. Where's my mask, Lord? Thomas Wilson, I'm on my front porch. My sister made me a really good mask. My wife made me a good mask. And when we go grocery shopping, I wear it. I tied the beard down, but beyond that, I mean, it's interesting to see truck drivers going down the road, nobody in the cab, and they're wearing a mask. I mean, we went on a hiking trail yesterday. My wife and I went on a hiking trail, and there were people wearing masks. You're in the woods. The only thing you're going to catch is dust. What's the alternative? Everything could collapse. Does that mean you stop, or is that your life's over? No, survival is objective regardless of their economy or this truck. Right? My Glock has never jammed. Well, Thomas Wilson, I'm talking about a shotgun. Home defense weapon. Which, by the way, Officer 401 did a good video today showing 3 people trying to do a home invasion. They got shot at. It was awesome. James G, what's up? Iowa calling in the National Guard to meet plants, pork production down 50%. Yep. I saw a dude the other day in a convertible with the roof down, driving by himself wearing his mask. See, that's what I mean. People have lost their minds. Common sense has disappeared. I can't believe you would go to the biggest state full of sidewalk sissies. To heck with California. Thomas, if it pays, I would go. But more likely, if it's paid in California, all that port freight goes east. Eventually, it hits the towns that I need it in, and we'll do it. But until they open the states up, the demand's not going to be there. I mean, until the small businesses can open up and start selling their stuff. But at the same time, who's going to have money to go shopping? I live near the hospital, so there's a constant stream of helicopters dropping people off. That was a helicopter, John. Jackville trades have been getting anywhere from 40 to 70 cents off a gallon at Speedways, but only 12 cents off a pilot using the RTS card. Am I being attacked? No, not yet. Sir, America's changing now. People will be putting a mask to be cool. That's a fact. Not long ago, you couldn't walk into someplace with a mask like a bank. I agree, Shadow Wolf. I mean, if you look at the Asian culture, masks were like part of their culture for the last several years. And like the Japanese have gone as far as to customize and personalize masks, and that's kind of like a steampunk kind of fashion thing, No, we don't have a bird feeder right now. But we've got a lot of robins, cardinals, blue jays around here. My wife is kind of the bird expert around here, but yeah, I mean, you go out in the country, there's even more. Yeah, okay, Captain Jack. It is, John. It is relaxing. Come out here, stare at my trucks, one that makes me money and one that doesn't, and just kind of chill, watch the cats attack things, and just kind of chill, especially on a day like today. Then soon my wife will be off work, and we'll be able to just sit on this. We're going to be the old couple on the porch, just kind of looking at life going by. Didn't they start with masks in the SARS epidemic? Yeah, James G. That was kind of, our American culture is going to start doing the same thing. And someone brought up a point. Well, if masks are pretty effective, couldn't we start opening businesses sooner? And what's interesting is that I went and just took a random today, and so I go in the clinic, and there's really small confined space, and there's like 4 people in there. They just put up a sign, social distancing, and you can ask for gloves by request, but they're not giving you a mask. And the ladies were wearing the face shields. One had a mask on plus the face shield, another one just had the face shield. And other than that, it's business as usual. Now, it might be different in a clinic that sees sick people, but this is just a place where people send you for a random drug test or employer drug screens, that kind of thing. Pappy. Pappy's got jokes today. I would like to show my 6-year-old a blue jay. Eddie, there's a place called the Missouri Conservation Department has called the Nature Center here, and they have a room they can go in, and they got like 50 million bird feeders, and they have these guides of how many birds go in there, and it's really cool. It's real relaxing to watch whenever the snot-nosed kids aren't climbing all over the counters and stuff. And it's pretty cool. You really get to see the variety of birds that we have here in Missouri. I look at Porch City and as practice for retirement, James G. Yep. You bought a T60 Ampicool. Awesome. Just relax and listen to Iron Maiden. There you go, Scott. That's the way to do it. Was it the 40th anniversary of the self-titled? This month? When I was home over the weekend, I sat in my shop as the sun was setting and watched lightning bugs, fruit bats dance around. Nature has a way of telling the true story, just saying. I agree, man. And that's kind of where you got to, John, are you listening? That's kind of where you got to find your happiness. Man, these glasses just won't stay up. That's kind of where you got to find your happiness. Is in the small things, because the big picture kind of sucks right now. And like last week when I was at this truck stop in Arkansas, there was 2 Stevens bobtails. Obviously they were waiting for a load, waiting for assignment, and they had a barbecue grill out and their camping chairs. They were having a good old little Stevens transportation party. And with the truck shows all being canceled, I mean, I won't be surprised if gas is canceled this year. Sometimes it's hard to find those little moments, like Kevin and Ollie, him and his wife invited us over for lunch, went and hung out, and And then Kevin came over later, and we jammed on my guitar amps. And it's little moments like that. I think that that's how you cure anxiety is through gratitude and just looking at the beauty of little moments. The nature trail yesterday. Lots of flowers. Lots of wilderness out there. Lots of squirrels doing squirrely things, and chipmunks, and no bugs. This is the perfect time of year because there's no bugs yet. At least not here in the Midwest. In the South, that's a different story. But we just recently had a hard freeze a couple of nights ago, so that kind of like took down the bug amount. Escargot, what's up, man? If pants and underwear can't stop fart, what are masks gonna do? Exactly. Escargot, I heard you're an Ozarks resident now, aren't you? Escargot, I would like to talk to you on the phone sometime. Get on Facebook Messenger and message me. I think we can help each other out. Looking at freight and stuff like that around this area. I listen to Dark Side of the Moon all night and burn out, but I can't get enough of this song money. There you go, Shadow Wolf. Ain't nothing like a good old parking lot party, exactly. Eddie, why are you stiff? What'd you do? Don says, I just got home from the hospital the other day and tested positive. I'm feeling good though. Well, good, Don. I hope you do well. There are people that, I don't know. There are people that think this is fake, and it's not. There's people really sick. There's people really dying. But that's the scariest part about all of it is we don't know the 100% honest truth of what we exactly have to fear or prepare for, what works and what doesn't. And let's build up everybody's fears and then tell them that they got control over these things that we just made you afraid of. How many times have you seen, well, everybody should be wearing a mask, but yet at the same time, mask does you no good. How many times have you heard that? People say you should wash your hands a lot. And then people say, well, it's in the air. People say, well, if it's in the air, then masks should help. Well, masks don't help. I mean, it's just kind of, I did a Facebook post about that, kind of like how bad the information we've been getting has been. And so your only truth is talking to the people that it's directly affected. And that's different in each part of the country. And you got some states that say you can't even go out and buy seeds and stuff your garden. Then you got other states that are like, do whatever you want. And somewhere in the middle is the answer. And there's no middle ground anymore. If I hit Springfield tomorrow, I'll hit you up. Maybe spill coffee together. Check you out later. All right, Shadow Wolf, that sounds good, dude. That sounds good. We had some pretty bad storms early day before yesterday down here. We had close to the state line. Yeah, South Georgia, I heard. And radar was tripping. Christian Trucker, he texted me and said that the storm, tornado was literally near his house, but he made it out all right. So I was like, man, I'm glad. He lives out there in the South there. So the South has become the new tornado alley. I mean, usually this time of year you're seeing that in like Oklahoma, Missouri, Iowa, Kansas. But this year it's been Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Carolinas. You're at the river going to do some catfishing. Time for a cold beer, Thomas Wilson. Will you enjoy that? You just have shortness of breath, nothing else? Well, they're saying that's the other thing is they're like, It's the asymptomatic people that they're worried about. If someone obviously has it, it's easy to go, all right, quarantine, don't breathe on anybody, we're not going to breathe on you, and boom, cut and dry. Hope you survive, right? Now it's like you may have it, not even know it, and you're spreading it. Well, how are we supposed to know? At least with the flu, and I think that's what makes this different. With the flu, it's obvious you're spreading it, right? But this, supposedly, you're spreading whether you know it or not. John, tornadoes scare the crap out of you? I'll tell you a good tornado story. Bob G, what's up? I'm all right, Mr. Bill. Love from New York. I'll tell you, so when I lived in Phoenix for 5 years, we had one tornado warning. It was only because a funnel cloud was spotted at the airport, which is like 10 miles away. And I was freaking out. I was like 11 years old or something. And so when I was 15, we moved to Springfield, Missouri. And I kid you not, the first night, my dad had the Weather Channel on constantly. He was a meteorologist for the Marines. That was his role in the Vietnam War and other missions is to make sure, the forecast, the weather and some weather patterns and stuff. So he was always fascinated by weather. Never pursued it professionally, but but he had the Weather Channel was new at that time. And that was back when the Weather Channel actually did this weird thing and they told you the weather. They weren't grandstanding. They weren't trying to make a situation look worse. It was literally forecast, radar, current conditions. That's all it was. It's what Weather Nation is now. And we get a tornado warning. And so I'm like freaking out. We don't have a basement in this house that we moved here with. And they're like, I'm like kind of like freaking out. It's like, calm down, and he was like, and the first thing they tell you in the news is don't go outside and look for it. I kid you not, every single person on the street was like, including us. And now the technology is like they can pinpoint that thing on the radar right down to the street, right down to the house it's getting ready to take out. And we've had some close calls here in Springfield. I remember we were outside during a tornado warning, and I literally saw debris falling in the sky, like in the yard. We had papers from Joplin. And the tornado warning wasn't even for Greene County. It was like a couple of counties over. But that was the same day that the Joplin tornado happened. Or no, it wasn't. I was home. The Joplin tornado, I wasn't home when that happened. But yeah, weather fascinates me. Red Monkey Trucking does some weather stuff. It's kind of cool. Call our lease company to see if payments can be deferred. They said we could be a couple of days late, but there would be a charge. Overtax, that's what I'm hearing. If you get your truck through a traditional bank, they're a little bit more lenient. But if you're getting it from a third-party leasing company, not so much. Jason, what's up? But, here's the thing, man. I'm going to Convoy. I'm putting my bids in. I've called on a couple of things, and they just aren't budging. They're not ready to budge yet. And, I am ready at a moment's notice at this point. I have to deal with a couple of things personally at home. But I will be that guy that if a low pops up and I get a call from a broker, yep, that means you need me because everybody else is giving up on you. Someone fell off a low. All I gotta do is pack up my CPAP and Get the heck out of Dodge. And I know a few people that do that. They'll post their truck on a low board and wait and say, call me 24 hours, right? And they get that call at 11 o'clock at night saying, hey, yeah, we have a problem. And they're like, all right, I can solve your problem, but it's going to cost you, right? I didn't get a complete deferral, but they cut my trailer payments in half for 2 months. About 20 years ago, I found books in my yard from a library 45 miles away. Day after a tornado. Yeah, we had a chimney cover fall on our house. We're sitting there just like, and mind you, like, no wind, no nothing. And all of a sudden, boom, crash. And so, go up on the roof, and it's this big chimney cover. And we thought it came from our chimney, like it blew off or something. So, somebody came out to inspect it, and it's like, I don't know where this came from, but this didn't come from your chimney. Oh, okay. So, and this was like a 20-pound piece of metal. I mean, it was all steel and aluminum and all that. Can you imagine if that had fallen on like the carport or one of the vehicles, you know? Kim Jong-un is dead, according to South Korean sources. Hopefully North Korea will turn to democracy. A little bit of irony there. Weren't they killing people if they found they were COVID positive? Most of the auto runs are done for now. You know, so basically this video is just a kind of rant, you know, and you know, debating, or, you know, not debating, but just kind of like thinking if is this rock bottom, or is rock bottom yet to come, and how long are we going to stay at the bottom? Because just as it's not, we're going to bounce. It's not like a boing. It's not going to do that. It's going to be a splat, and then a gradual build. And yeah, kind of sucks, especially when I get it. I get it. The supply and demand. I get that. And I get the fact that when capacity is in our favor, that we're quick to go, we need $3 a mile for your 2,000-mile run. I get that. But all this is going to do is make that happen even worse. Because I remember when rates were starting to drop, there was a broker on Facebook that was like, remember when everything was $5 a mile? Yeah, this is our revenge. And that sucks. It sucks to have that mentality. And I'm not griping about it per se, because, you know, if I really hated the broker driver system, that I would do things in my control to get out of that situation. But it's just like anything else, a high risk stock option, you know, one day you're the prince and one day you're the pauper, right? Rock bottom has a basement, I believe. I believe that, Donnie. I believe that. And I don't know. Facebook's been a challenge to be on here lately. And I'm not a political person. There are people that absolutely just despise our president. I'm just like, whatever. And you you got to read between the lines of what the other people are saying, not just the president, but just everybody. What's your local government is the thing to fear more than the president. You know, if you're anti-president, you're missing the big picture. Because government starts with your local, you know, Jeff was telling me that he had to do something. He had to drive 30 miles because of the restrictions that Michigan is doing, just to get something that he has to get done. And Missouri, we're pretty blessed. And I noticed that some stores have been a little more relaxed, like Walmart. You know, for a while they were counting you coming in, and you know, some were even taking your temperature and all that. But now they've kind of like, now you just see cones in the entrance, and it's almost like business as usual. Except everybody's wearing masks. And I think at Walmart it's like, yeah, screw it, we'll just make our people wear masks. So you know, and it helps feel better. You know, well, you can wear masks. Well, can you find masks? There's a lot of people that have stepped, you know, okay, so let's do a good story. Let's do some positivity, right? Let's do some positivity. If you're going down I-44, going through Stratford, exit 88, there is a parking place that will let you park for free. They don't have accommodations, but they're not far from the truck stops. You have families out in Mount Vernon, over there by that TA, Mount Vernon, Missouri, exit 4048, that are giving stuff to truck drivers. You have people stepping up to the plate and being helpful for us. And I think that's why part of the mentality of what these brokers are pulling is hard, because it's like, okay, we're getting all these thanks and you're a hero and all that stuff, but yet you expect me to run a load for 40 cents a mile. I cut. That ain't gonna happen. And so I don't sit there and call myself a hero. You know, my sister, she wanted to do something nice, you know, so she made us masks, but you know, it's just like, you're heroes because you're still out here. I'm like, well, I mean, yeah, we keep the supply chain alive, but greed is going to kill the supply chain, either from trucks that don't want to run to the brokers that are forcing the rates that you don't want to run for. But there is some positivity, you know, people are stepping up and people are giving us some recognition. And things are never going to go back to what they were before all this started. There's going to be a new normal. And what that new normal is, we don't know, but it gives you the opportunity to create the new normal. We now have a chance to create a new normal. You know, it's kind of like our people that settled, you know, early settlers here. We had a chance to create something new and created one of the greatest countries in the world. And we have that opportunity now. You have that opportunity to fix what was broken and to really rise up out of this a better person, a better business person, better relationships, better food choices, better choices all the way around. And now you've got, you know, if you're laid off from your job, you've got plenty of free time to really educate yourself with all the positive resources online. And you know, it's all about perspective. It's all about, you know, and it's like, if you're heavily affected by this pandemic, now you know the things that you can work on to make sure that you never have to deal with this stress ever again. And to me, that's a great gift. To me, that's a great, powerful thing that you can use and really just, you know, sock it to the man, sock to the society, you know, and just really kind of learn from this. become a better person out of this. That's the positives of all this. You guys have stopped commenting. Dang it. And so, for every Facebook post out there bashing the president or bashing this or bashing that, you got people that are protesting, and you got people that are bashing the protesters. And somewhere in the middle is the answer. The natives are getting restless. And if a majority of the people feel that the virus is not a threat, then they're going to become more restless. If the majority of the people won't give it a fear, then yeah, it does seem extreme. And with extreme thoughts become extreme actions. And you got people filling sand in the skate parks, and you've got, I watched Live PD, and of course, they could tell the drug addicts that were in the parks or whatever, but it's like, I understand you don't want people congregating, and it's hard to control the outside. Like, it's easy to say only 200 people allowed in this building, that has capacity for 1,000. But how do you control capacity at parks? And you got, like, even the parks here, they got like tape over all the playground equipment. Kids can't play, but you're told to go outside. You're told to go out and enjoy the fresh air. But yet, it's a lot of self-contradicting information out there, and that doesn't help the stress level. It doesn't help the mentality. So you have to look and find joy in the small things and be grateful for the things that you do have, and just use common sense. This is a big reset button for a lot of, hopefully, common sense actions that will enrich your life later. I'm turning my high-priced lease truck in and going to buy an International if I can get where I need to be, says Wallace. Good deal. Staying cool under pressure is the main ingredient to surviving. Absolutely, South Georgia. Absolutely. And it's interesting to see people on Facebook, people on YouTube kind of freaking out. And you can tell who's stressed and who isn't. And and it's not like you're screwed if you don't have a game plan right now. What you have now, if you don't have a great game plan now, this is a great opportunity to develop one. And as far as the new normal, today I was talking with my son about, he's 18, graduating from high school this year, and so it's job time, right? But with 10 million people unemployed, how easy is it going to be to find a job? And so there's like this new normal. We can't even go to the DMV to get his license. And it's hard to keep things in perspective during these times. Grocery store workers who worked through the pandemic, exposed to hundreds of people every day, are all dead, except for the ones who didn't die, which is pretty much all of them. Think about it. Look, no one knows anything for sure. The government's making decisions based off computer programs. That's true. We are still here. I know this isn't over with, but it hasn't been that bad. I got to spend more time with my family, and we got a lot accomplished outside of our work lives. Right. That's kind of what I'm doing. Look, I told Jeff I would run when I could, but I'm also using this normally about 2 or 3 times a year, or at least once a quarter. I take a week off, and it's usually to do a vacation with family. We go camping, or we go somewhere, like a staycation kind of thing, or we like do stuff around the house. And I've decided to take most of this week off if nothing pops up. But these loads I like doing on convoy popped up, and I put my bids in. I keep getting outbid. I'm like, well, this is a perfect week to catch up some business stuff. Get some stuff done on the truck, and catch up some tax stuff that I had to catch up with, and just take time for the business other than driving the truck, because later, a month from now, I may not have time to stop and do that kind of stuff, and I hope that's the case. And and spending the time with family now, because in a month I'll stay out 3 months straight if we're making big bucks. I mean, stack that cash, and eventually this truck's going to ask for money. Knock on wood, knock on wood. Where's wood? And I just don't want it to ask for money now, because that's going to make savings a little bit harder. So, and I also have figured out the weaknesses to my operation through all this. Agent Orange says we reduced our insurance to 25-mile radius and shut her down for a couple of weeks. Right. You need to do what you choose. It's way more than 10 million. It's 22 million and counting upward. That's crazy. Sound like Pale Rider when I say that. Hang out with the wife a bunch. Yep. We are finally on the final season of Breaking Bad. My wife and I have been binge watching that since I've been home. I've been a bad influence on her. But at the same time, I started exercising more. I need to do my exercise today. And, so I'll probably go out to the trail. I haven't eaten yet today too, so I'm doing I'm trying to get back to the fasting thing. Probably have a couple eggs to eat, and then that'll be it for dinner. That's crazy, says Pale Rider. Most of our modern society has forgotten about how beneficial it is to decompress. Sal, Georgia, absolutely right. Here's the thing, man. You ever notice a lot of us YouTubers say, here's the thing a lot? If you feel that you're trapped inside your house because of, no going out orders, okay? And take these glasses off. This is annoying. And you're constantly on Facebook, constantly watching the news, constantly just thinking about the same thing over and over and over. How do you get away? How do you disengage? How do you and that's where just sitting on the porch with the beer or coffee, depending on what time of day it is, and just staring at things, decompress. No electronics. I'll have my phone close by just in case, I get a broker call or something like that. But for the most part, enjoy life, because no matter what the economy is doing out there, no matter what the brokers are doing out there, no matter if people are shooting each other in the street, guess what? It's nice and peaceful right here. And I can kick back and enjoy. That crap will drive you crazy. Exactly. It drive you cray-cray, right? And one of the things I worry about with my kids is, like, you guys need to get off electronics every now and then, just watch a stupid TV show, with no commercials, and it'll feel, even that will be better than watching idiots like me on YouTube, right? Numbers are in no way accurate. No one knows for sure. No proof and tests have been found to be contaminated as well. Right? Constantly scanning the little boards all well. Overtax. there are times when I'm sitting at a truck stop, and James Best and I have talked about this. At some point, none of the loads look good. You don't even want to call. And knowing that whatever you call on, you're going to get ticked off because they're not going to give you a good rate. And it's going to be something that you're settling for. And that can be disheartening. And then, so what do? You sit in the truck for 10 hours with no load, nowhere to go. And that is stressing, not stressing, but just kind of like soul draining in and of itself. That was the biggest problem. That's why I ballooned up 100 pounds when I was at Landstar, because I sat too much, worked very little, and fought for every penny I got. And the reality of self-dispatch not being that easy set in. There's a few good ones on YouTube. Well, at least you found me, because at least you got something until you find the good YouTubers. That's where I am. Time to go for a walk, guys. I'll tell you what, man. 2 things clear my head. One is a walk. If I'm at a truck stop and I feel stressed because the low board sucks, go for a walk. If I'm at home and I feel that anxiety, I'm going to go for a walk. What was the second thing? I forgot. Walk well. Oh, dishes. I do dishes. I've been doing dishes since I was 7 years old. My parents made me wash dishes. I've discovered some awesome music. That was the thing. When I was a teenager, I put my headphones on. Remember the Sony Walkmans, And I would like put my cassette tape. Remember cassette tapes? I put that in and I would jam out to I discovered Striper and Metallica and Megadeth and Testament. And if I wasn't doing dishes with my headphones on, I was riding my bike. And I've solved a lot of problems doing repetitive work. When I was a welder, we did a lot of line welding. It was the same job, same piece, same everything. And my mind would just wander because you're basically an autopilot. And I have solved world problems doing repetitive actions, and dishwashing is no different. Actually kind of enjoy it. I'll catch up on a lot of YouTubers' live feeds doing dishes. My 2 things are pulling triggers and twisting a throttle. South Georgia, I wish I can go shooting. And yeah, I wish. I need to train. I need to be more proficient. But I also want the joy. I've never shot a shotgun before, right? My wife and I took our shotgun, our newly acquired 870, down to the range. I'll tell you what, dude. That first shot was like, yeah. My heart was racing. So I'm like, wow, either I'm going to die of a heart attack, or that was like, an adrenaline rush for sure. And then when we went shooting at the range the last time before they shut them all down around here, my wife and I were both like, yeah, that was awesome, And so I very much want to dive into that world a little bit more. But no ranges are open. Now we do own 5 acres of land out in the sticks, but we haven't really gone down there and checked it all out, and see which direction we can shoot, and I don't even think we have access to it yet driving access. So next time you go blank your mind and do not think, point, and shoot, you will be home because you will not miss doing that. Do I have optics on those weapons? No. I'm barely into this world, overtaxed. I am learning. I am trying to learn as much as I possibly can and trying to avoid the bad YouTube channels of the gun world. And I know nothing about long rifles. I know nothing about long guns. And my knowledge of handguns has gotten better in the last year, but not enough to make me go, I can carry on conversations and kind of know what you're talking about, but not enough to make me go, yeah, I'm awesome. Which I've been driving for 10 years. I can't even do that with trucking. I learned this in the Army about AR using the 5.56 cartridge sight group at 50 yards. This will also put center of mass at 300 yards. But we got the bare minimums to help out. So. And it's kind of amazing, perspective is another thing. I went to Academy to get some non-ammo supplies, but still gun related. And it was like, you would think it was World War III in there. They had this whiteboard that listed everything that they were out of. And then they escorted you into the store and escorted you out. And of course, all around you is like all the sports memorabilia that you can't buy, you can't touch, you can't look at. And it was weird. But then, and they're out of all, ammo shells are bare. But then the local gun store that I go to, the small mom and pop, shells are full. And they're not taking advantage of the fact that nobody else in town has ammo, other than the fact that saying, hey, guess what? You want ammo, come to a small independent shop, not some big conglomerate. And so support your small stores, regardless of what industry they're in. I've got a record store, a local record store I would love to support, but they're told that they can't be open. So thank God for Spotify, right? I could mail order them, but then when things reopen, I would like to give them my business. So, because small businesses are going to be hurting the most. Christian Trucker did a post on it today on Facebook. By the way, if you haven't subscribed to Christian Trucker's channel, subscribe to that because he is a good dude. He and I have some really good conversations. He has run his trucking company right, and he started from the ground up at Schneider, so he has his own authority and doing well. Even in this pandemic situation. But he made a point that the small stores, support them. Walmart's going to survive. Academy's going to survive. Maybe. Academy's going to learn the importance of their ammo, guns and ammo, and how important they are to their stores. The big stores are going to survive this. The small stores, not so much. And so, buy local. Buy local. You're supporting your local brewery, there you go. All things are essential except politicians. They're the biggest problem. I agree. All right, John, you go enjoy your movie. What movie are you going to go watch, John? And if I do get an AR, it'll be a 5.56 there. Georgia. No, did I say if? I'm sorry. When. So, just put that out. But anyways, we're over an hour. If you guys got any comments, questions, concerns, let them out now because this is almost empty and I gotta pee. So Your wife is buying loco. Small gun shops have way better info. Right. I agree. Now you get, look, you get a good price at Academy on firearms. I don't deny that. And there's a better selection sometimes. But, you know, I almost prefer Bass Pro over Academy, but I prefer my small shop. You know, I bought 2 firearms from him. And then I bought one from a local pawn shop. And then I bought one from another independent. I can't play the guitar, but I'm learning. But I do know a lot about guns, so I know what you're talking about. It just takes time. And Scott, you bring up a good point. It's weird to me because I haven't really had to learn. I mean, I've been doing this trucking thing for 10 years. I've been playing guitar for 25. Now, I'm not a gearhead, so a lot of guitar stuff, I'm kind of out of the loop on the amps. Like Kevin and Ollie. Kevin was showing me the stuff that you can do with your phone. I'm just like, oh my gosh, you know, this iRig thing. And, you know, here I am in this old school 20-year-old, you know, amp, right? You know, just like gong, 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 you know. Meanwhile, he gets his phone out and all these cool effects are going. But I know a little bit, right? Someone tells me about guitars or gauges or whatever, I have a little bit of knowledge. So the whole gun thing's been kind of intimidating. And so it feels weird to, you know, especially when you buy a gun, you can't just like go out and shoot it right then and there. You have to go to the range, you know, or, you know, you can't shoot it the very day that you buy it. Whereas guitar, man, as soon as you get home, man, you can jam and record a song and put it on Spotify if you want. You know, I had all the weapons that I've had for a month before I was able to shoot it for the first time. And so the guitar stuff, you know, it's kind of weird. It's kind of unnatural to me to like dive into a world that I know nothing about, you know. The Hole, what's up? You're in time just for me to end this video. Southbound J came up with good songs. See, that's the thing. I'm not the only guitar player in the Like Trucking crew. Southbound J writes whole albums. Gotta run, make some burgers and dogs on the grill for lunch. Can't forget nice cold beer. Gotta enjoy the time off. Peace out. Right? Well, guys, this has been a good discussion. I hope you dig it. Hang in there, man. I hope, but not counting on. I hope that this is rock bottom. And it's easy to get frustrated. It's easy to point the blame and hatred and point it towards somewhere else, towards something else. But the reality is, one thing we got control is how we react. So, anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for the super chat. I appreciate that. And you know, let's lift each other up instead of taking each other out. So, anyways, peace.